I can't get up, who will save me?
I'll save you! Okay, so what seems to be the problem?
Well, I don't really know. I was just walking and then all of a sudden I collapsed.
Well, using my superpowers, it does look like the ligaments are very swollen and there's limited movement in the joints.
Oh no, what does that mean?
I think it means you have a sprained ankle.
So what's it like in the daily life of a super podiatrist?
Well, podiatrists perform many different jobs. One of the jobs is diagnosing foot and ankle problems, which can include broken bones, sprains, and bothersome calluses that you may have on your feet. And then after I diagnose the problem, which may take some x-rays and looking at it, I can prescribe medication to help and treat it. And if I do need to, I can perform surgery because I have the right education.
You have a license?
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to become a super podiatrist?
Well, the characteristics you need is you need to be good with old people because once you grow older, the elderly are more susceptible to injuries, and you do need to be able to handle stinky feet. And you have to understand the importance of having your feet in the everyday movement and use of it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I just got your x-ray back. Just to make sure you didn't have any breaks in your foot or ankle. And it does look to me that your outer ligament is a little bit swollen here and a little bit stretched. So yes, you do have a sprained ankle.
Oh, okay. How do I treat it? What should I do?
Using proper treatment such as like ice. You should ice it every night. You should elevate it, and just taking ibuprofen or Advil will help.
Okay, am I gonna feel anything?
If you stay off of it, try not to put any pressure on it, you should be fine.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate one of the examples of a surgery that a podiatrist could do. It's called an Achilles heel, or it would be performed on your Achilles heel. So a problem that a lot of people have is that their Achilles heel will rupture. Your Achilles heel goes from your heel to the bottom of your leg, and at times this tendon can fray or rupture or tear. And so there are two methods of surgery you can do. One is an open repair, where you would cut from the base of the heel all the way up to the bottom of the leg, and you would open it, and then you would sew together the tendons, which you could see with sutures. The second method is a closed repair. It's called a closed repair because the incision is a lot smaller. It goes from the base of the heel just a little bit above, like right above or right on where the Achilles heel is torn. And then you would sew through the skin and connect the pieces back together without opening it up as much.
Forensic podiatrists are used in crimes to analyze footprints and footwear and use their knowledge of anatomy and physiology to hopefully identify the suspect or provide a suspect description. Here's the case of murder victim X, where a farmer, Mr. X, was murdered in the mud behind his barn. The murderer's boots got stuck in the mud as they were trying to escape, so there were some boots and evidence as well as footprints in the mud when the murderers were running away. There are three suspects: the farmer's wife, the farmer's neighbor, and the farmer's business partner. When we collect data or samples from each of these suspects, they're color-coded. So the wife is orange, the neighbor is green, and the business partner is yellow. Within evidence, we would have photographs of the footprints in the mud, and ideally they would be from different angles in order to analyze the size and depth of the print because they're in mud. We would also use the shoe liner found in the boot and analyze the impressions to get a virtual image of the foot. From the suspects, you would collect a foam block imprint So they would make an impression in the foam block by standing on it, so they could see the depth of the indent as well as other details at the bottom of their feet that might match up with the other evidence. There would be a bare footprint outline in order for size and shape to be determined. And finally, you would collect a gait pattern from each of the suspects, or a walking pattern. So they would take 8 steps on butcher paper, and you would observe how far apart their steps were and see if it correlated with the gait pattern at the crime scene. Once all of the evidence is collected, you would use the ACEV method, which is the protocol for forensic podiatrists, in order to make a conclusion. This stands for analysis, comparison, examination, and verification. There are a few questions you have to ask yourself before you come to a definite conclusion. First, is the evidence of high enough quality and quantity? If hypothetically we had enough photos of the different angles, then yes, the evidence would be of high enough quality and quantity. You would also ask yourself if there's general agreement between the suspect's size and shape and position of the foot zones and toes. Comparing the sock liner and outline of the feet that were drawn by the suspects, you could hopefully determine that. And then you would use, or a podiatrist would use their knowledge of anatomy in order to find agreement in identification lines on the foot. So that would be the web ridge, the arch, the lateral foot, heel, web, and space outline, which could also be determined by the foam block impressions or the sock liner. Finally, you would ask yourself if the biomechanics correlate. So biomechanics are the movement of the body, and that is defined by the gait pattern. And if you found a definite conclusion based off of all of these questions, then you would have your findings examined by another examiner for verification.